با سلام خدمت تمام دوستان عزیز. زحمت کشیدید تشریف آوردید. با عرض تسلیت برای ایام محرم خدمت شما و با عرض معذرت که بنده یک صحبتی رو به انگلیسی ترتیب داده بودم برای دوستان انگلیسی زبان، حالا مجبورم یه جایی بین انگلیسی و فارسی انشاءالله در خدمتتون باشم برای یه چیزی حدود 15 دقیقه تا 20 دقیقه. صدا میرسه؟ میرسه. خدمت شما که عرض کنم این بحثی بود که بنده سال پیش هم پرزنت کردم، اینجا در خدمت دوستان بودیم و اون بحث اشک ریختن و گریه کردن بود و خب سالها هست که روی این صحبتی که آیا اشک ریختن آیا استفاده ای هم داره، آیا از لحاظ حالا دید علمیش بخوایم نگاه کنیم و روی این بحث خیلی صحبت شده و کار شده. بحث اول صحبت اینه که اصلا چرا چشمامون اشک ازشون جاری میشه. اشکی که از چشم جاری میشه از یک غده یا گلندی هست که چشم رو دائم خیس نگه میداره برای سلامتی چشم و برای نگه داشتن باکتری و چیزهایی که از محیط اطراف به چشم ما وارد میشه. در اشک ما موادی هستن به نام آنتیبادی ها باکتری و به اصطلاح خودمون میکروب ها رو دور نگه میدارن از ساختمان چشم. بعد صحبت اینه که خب اشک چه موقعهایی میاد؟ اشک چشم در حالت عادی به صورت معمول جاریه، به صورت خیلی کم، اما در زمانهایی که ما ایموشنی داریم یا معذرت میخوام اگر که انگلیسی رو اینجا قاطی میکنم شاید کمک کنه دوستان.
ما انگلیسی زبان داریم.
انگلیسی زبان داریم. So when we have emotions and in response to emotions we cry. It could be positive emotions like being overjoyed, or it could be a distress or grief, which in this month of Muharram is what we actually we have grief for Imam Hussein, and that could bring us into tears. So the question is, what are the benefits, if any, of crying? So this is a list of proposed benefits of crying. So what I did, I took them one by one, and I did a study. I worked on it and did a fact check, in other words, to see if those are really true or not. And these are my findings that I could find in the literature and reliable sources that I have listed at the end of the talk. Toxin release. So there's a fact that they say that by crying we can release some of the toxins from our body. And is that true? So this researcher by the name of Dr. William Fry, he's a biochemist, he did some studies on regular tears versus the tears that come out of emotions and grief. And he compared the two, and the results were very interesting. And as I wrote it there, the reflex tears that come out on a regular basis were due to allergies or something getting into our eyes, is mostly water and salts. It doesn't have a lot of different substances other than that. However, the emotional tears, which again we usually shed due to emotions and grief, they also contain more substances. And I have listed those there. Some of them are stress hormones, believe it or not. And that was astonishing, very surprising to the researchers. So stress hormones that I've listed there, I don't want to read them to you, they're kind of their scientific names, but it has been proven that tears, crying based on grief, do excrete those substances that normally don't get excreted. So the stress relief is another thing that they propose that crying does. And the substance that has been found that is directly related to stress is manganese. And please remember, this is manganese, not magnesium. So manganese has an abbreviation of Mn, not Mg. So the less of the manganese that is excreted, the more excreted and less of it we have in our body, the lower it relieves actually the stress, that lowers the stress and anxiety. And it has been proven. Another fact check on killing bacteria. When we shed tears, does it really help with preventing bacterial infection? And the answer is yes. They found this enzyme called lysozyme that does actually prevent bacterial infection and viral infection. Another proposed benefits of crying that they talk about is improving vision. A lot of people think it does, but I could not find any proof, scientific proof, if you will, that it does help improve vision. And elevating mood. Elevating mood is a very subjective subject, basically, and it's hard to measure. But I have a quote there from a reputable source that I read it to you. That is, a new study finds that a good cry, meaning that not just a very short period emotional discharge, but a good cry meaning that lasts for a good minute or two.
Like a good rosé.
Like a good rosé, yes, exactly. May help you feel better. However, the mood at first may decline before slowly improve, going beyond the initial emotional event. So that does have some scientific roots to it. And that's what we usually get out of during these seasons. Improving communications. So crying has been one of the oldest methods of communication. As you all know, small kids, children who cannot speak, they do communicate pain and hunger by crying, and we do respond to that. So it's a non-verbal way of communication. Also, it's used for expressing our emotions and solidarity. Solidarity or unity is something that we're here tonight, basically. So when we talk about Imam Hussein, for solidarity, sometimes we get emotional and we cry. So that's another communication tool. And as I said, I have all the references listed here. If you're interested, I'll be more than happy to present it to you. That's pretty much it, unless you have any questions, please go ahead.
But how much of crying, I mean, is beneficial? Too much of it maybe is the reverse.
Not for
That's
you,
it.
for children.
Good question, good question. How much crying is healthy and how much of it may be unhealthy? Of course, too much crying that
Can you
Um,
control?
crying for a long time due to pain or too much emotion is not healthy because it can dehydrate the lacrimal gland.
We don't want to
that-
make it به حضرت ایوب نمیخوام
Right, we don't want to get too emotional because the side effects of getting too emotional and crying too much may be far worse. But occasional crying seem to be very beneficial. And,
For example, in Muharram, during Muharram, people may cry 2-3 minutes maximum. If they have the preparation really, they may cry 2-3 minutes per night. What do you think of that?
Okay. Now, from my understanding of these literatures that I studied, that this would be kind of ideal situation where we get emotional, cry for a few minutes, and that would be a good emotional discharge. And also, it's good for our eyes' health in general. So that would certainly be a positive thing, I think. Yes, please.
I just want to know your opinion on what this. You know, a lot of people in Iran complain that we have too much sadness. Okay, but I want you to compare the society in Iran and the society in the West. As you see in the West, we have so many psychologists that they don't cry, but we don't have it too much in Iran. What do you think about that?
That's a good point. That sadness part is a totally different subject. Basically, crying could be one way of discharging all those emotions and anger that basically builds up in a person. Unfortunately, yes, in our home country, there are issues that could build up emotions. And maybe crying more often could help some people discharge all that tension that builds up in them. But you're right, in the Western world, it's not being encouraged as it maybe should, because all these studies that I was looking at have been done in the West, basically, that discourages crying. And you're right, I mean, those should be further looked into, especially for countries or societies where people are having more problems and sadness.
دکتر معذرت میخوایم قراره که در تباقت آمده برای اطفال خرد گریه کردن باعث نشنمونشان میشه زیادتر هرچی بودن گریه کنن
باعث نشاط بیشترش
بله
میشه.
یعنی نمو زیادتر میکنن بله اما بله، نمو
رشدشون بیشتر میشه
رشدش بله ما نجیه افغانستانی داریم این در قسمت جوانها یا اشخاص پیرینا یا در روزخانی اینا تا جایی که روشن داره یا تا جایی که این اراده دارن که میفهمن احساس میکنن اگر گریه میکنن هیچ نقصی برش ندارن. از طرف دیگر برای روشنایی و شستن چشما چنانچه ببینیم که ارتفیشیال تیر میتن دکترها برای خشکی چشما بسیار مفید واقع میشه از
اینجور که متوجه شدید جناب دکتر پیمان یک کامنتی داشتن راجع به گریه کردن مثلا تو اطفال بچه های کوچک بنا به گفته ایشان زمانی که اشک میریزن و گریه میکنن خودشون رو یه جورایی به همین صحبت آخری شد کامیونیکیت میکنن و نیازهای خودشون رو میگن و کلا کمک میکنه به رشدشون. از این بابتی که زمانی که غذا میخوان اگه بچه گریه نکنه احتمالاً کمتر بهش توجه میشه. بنابراین گریه کردن در کودکان چیز طبیعی و خوبی است و به رشدشون میتونه کمک کنه. و برای بزرگسالان هم میگن که کسانی که خشکی چشم دارن، درای آی دارن، گریه کردن میتونه تا حدی کمک کنه به اصطلاح ریویدینگ the eye، دوباره چشمشون رو خیس کنه، خیس کردن چشمشون. از توجهتون متشکرم. انشاءالله که خداوند عزم شما بده. تشریف آوردید امشب اینجا. اگه سوال دیگه ندارید من از خدمتتون مرخص میشم.
خیلی تشکر.
یک جان تشکر. بگذارید. نه همینجوری دو دقیقه از برادر عزیز ما جناب آقای دکتر روزیطلب یک جان تشکر. همیشه تشریف میارن و مطالب بسیار ارزشمندی را خدمت شما تقدیم میکنن. برای سلامتی خودشان و فامیلشان لطفاً صلوات بلند ختم کنیم. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
شبای محرم اسپانسر کار داریم. انشاءالله کوشش کنیم که به دسترخوان حسینی شریک شویم و شما میفهمین در تمام ممالک اسلامی جاده ها را بند میکنن و دیگار را پخته میکنن به خاطر ازی میپزن، به خاطر ازی که بتونن به نام حسین برای مردم غذا. یکی از فواید عاشورا ممیست که مردم غریب و بیچاره که در ممالک دیگه که هستن اونا را همه اطعام میکنن یا غذا میدن. خب به هر حال کسانی که نظر ثواب زیاد داره اسپانسر میشن. برادر عزیز ما جناب آقای مهندس میرافتاد لیست دارن خدمت شما میرسونن. هر شبری که شما میخواین میتونین شما لطفا اسمتان بنویسین. خب بازم خدا را سپاسگزار هستیم که ما شما این مراسمی با شکوه محرم و بسیار خوبی انشاءالله آغاز کردیم و از مطالب برادر عزیز ما دکتر صاحب رضیطلب هم استفاده کردیم. بازم خداوند به شما برکت بده و فامیلتان. همیشه کوشش کنیم که دوستا و عزیزارم از برنامه و پروگرام ما را که خبر ندارن به اطلاعشان برسانیم تا تشریف بیارن اینجا. انشاءالله این مراسم و اینا به خوبی و با دست جمعی شود. با برکت صلواتی بر محمد و آل محمد.
اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.